second we entered this place. Which means we can do little here in this situation. No, wait, sir. Please leave this matter to Interpol's hands and go home. Mr. Edgeworth. Hey, you're not Mr. Edgeworth? In that case, allow me to join your investigation. Miss Von Karma! Eek! Ambassador Poleno, I appreciate you allowing me to join the investigation. It's really nothing. Manny was my secretariat, so of course I want to help you as much as I can. In fact, it's a blessing that Interpol agents were able to make it so quickly. Francesca. Well, I never imagined I'd meet you here of all places. This is an embassy, meaning you have no authority to conduct. Already? What is it? Ambassador Poleno. And you are? I'm Miles Edgeworth, public prosecutor. I ask please allow me to investigate this case as Miss Van Karma's assistant. Assistant? Miles, what the heck do you think you're... Please, I implore you, Ambassador Poleno. Very well. I'll be counting on the two of you, Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth. What did you mean by you'll be Miss Von Karma's assistant? I don't exactly have a choice, do I, detective? If I don't become Francesca's assistant, I can't participate in this investigation. There you go again, running at the mouth with that aloof expression on your face. Francesca, please. I don't know what you're planning quite yet, but at least I do know one thing, that you are now my subordinate. Just remember that my whip is always ready to whip you, should you have a brain lapse. Of course, I'll keep that in mind. If you're done playing games... Right, let's begin the investigation. By the way, detective, I suppose it's a bit late to be asking, but why are you here? Better late than never, I guess, sir. I placed on guard duty for the Babalese embassy today. And why are police guarding an embassy? Well, on the card they got from the Yatagarasu. They called us up and asked for our help, sir. Because we've been searching for the Yatagarasu these past 7 years. It was more or less mutually beneficial arrangement, if you ask me. Except for how mutually beneficial this has all turned out to be, I suppose. It looks like he failed to completely perform your guard duty yet again. Look forward to your next salary negotiation. Although, it's out of my hands. But sir, if it gets cut anymore, I won't be able to buy even instant noodles anymore. So our victim was the secretariat of this embassy, I take it. Manny Cochin. I heard he was an admirable person. Very admirable. The cause of death is a stab to the base of his neck. He was lax in watching his back. We are fortunate that the fire missed our victim's body for the most part. If the fire had to be burned a little bit longer, it would have made identifying him a task. So Mr. Koken was stabbed to death in the middle of a great fire. What in the world happened inside this room? There appears to be something in his pocket. The This key. It can't be. Isn't this the Yatagarasu's key that was stolen 7 years ago? What? That's... Huh? 7 years? Oh! You mean that case where I was framed, sir? Yes, it's the piece of evidence that stole the life of Kay's father 7 years ago. Which was then stolen by Callisto Yu. What? Mr. Faraday was killed with this key, sir. I thought he was killed with a knife. Eep. Scruffy! At the very least, try to remember the details of crimes you were a suspect in. Francesca, as you will recall, Detective Gumshoe was not present when Miss Yu made her escape. Plus, even among law enforcement, only a few knew of this key's existence. The food-on-stick murder weapon is not on a stick! It's a key that turns into a knife! I feel like the victim right now. All trampled on, sir! I suppose I'll just fill you in for now. Even more proof that Edgeworth is a murderer? I knew it. This is the same exact piece of evidence that Miss Yu took with her. I remember this beautiful pattern on the blade. I remember this as well. It's a vine motif, isn't it? It looks like the two interwoven vines crossing down the blade. Vines, sir? It looks like a bunch of stars, if you ask me. It's one of those six-sided stars, just like at the police mark on our IDs. I really don't think you can call these stars. To say this detective's art sense is underdeveloped would be an understatement. Even more proof that Edgeworth is a murderer? No! The real question is why the Babalese embassy's secretariat's holding this? While we don't know how Manny Cochin came to possess this key, we do know that this key was stolen by Yatagarasu from the Cadopian embassy. Right. Mr. Faraday had written down the fact in his organizer. Which means that further research is required into the country of Cadopia. Why don't you ask Ambassador Paleno about what he knows? Supposedly, he was a candidate to be the next Cadopian ambassador once long ago. He should be able to answer any specific questions he may have. This man, where do you know him from? Is this knife the murder weapon? Some preliminary testing has been conducted. According to results, the blood on that matches the victim's blood. The blade's shape was also found to be consistent with the stab wound. I suppose this means we now know the crime committed with this knife. This knife got some really fancy ornamentation going on, huh, sir? This thing practically screams artsy at me, too. Although it's covered in blood, just like the last thing I said was artsy. But the handle's pristine. That's not a single drop of blood on it. Speaking of the handle, I believe it has a butterfly motif. It's very beautiful. I think that's everything here. The ceiling fan must have fallen from the ceiling. Wow, great deduction. A ceiling fan? What does one of these do? Exactly what it does. It's a fan that is installed on one ceiling. Well, if I had one of those in my room, I bet I'd go dizzy just from staring at it as I slept. Detective Gumshoe. In the real world, we close our eyes when we sleep. Because this is a national treasure, can I ask that you please not touch it? I'm afraid that the only ones allowed to touch it are myself and the secretary.
Hold it!
But there's a possibility that it's related to the murder, wouldn't you agree? Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't we give up for now? We can force them to let us investigate it later when we have some solid proof. I suppose I don't have much of a choice there. You're not a fan of that thing? This must be one of those primitive statues Kay was talking about earlier. Is it just me, or this man looks like the Steel Samurai? They could be twins. Mr. Edgeworth, there's still something about this display rack, sir. Knives, huh? Although the blades are all that remain of them, unfortunately. At least the handles all got burnt off by the fire. So, even the knives fell victim to the fire. Ambassador Paleno, are these knives yours? Why, yes, they are. They are a special set of ornamental knives featuring the national symbol of Babal. These butterfly-themed knives, along with Alabas's own set of knives, are comprised of 3 knives each. But I can't say that the Babalese ones have been reduced to the states. Ornamental knives, huh? There's some small release on the tang of this blade. Ambassador Paleno, what is this notch here for? Oh, that. It's a feature of those knives where you can freely exchange the handles on them. So we change how they look to fit in the situation, of course. I see, so these knives were constructed so that the handles could be easily removed. I'm sure that's an important detail. These shelves are lined with American souvenirs and memorabilia. It's really strange, isn't it? I mean, I thought this was a Babalese embassy. So, why are there so many American souvenirs, sir? Perhaps the Babalese are studying American culture in our tourism industry. If they have plans to make the Babalese tourism industry truly flourish, then they would need to observe and study each other's countries. Methods, I suppose. Speaking of tourism, I got these from the blonde guy earlier. He said that if I bring these with me to Babal, I can trade them for a few buffets. Oh? How do you expect to travel to Babal? Well, the whole world is collected by the ocean, sir. And for an all-you-can-eat buffet, I'll swim all the way to Babal if I have to. Can a few simple coupons really motivate people to do such fantastic things? It looks like this was a once magnificent grandfather clock, but it has fallen victim to the fire. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, is it okay for me to talk about the clocks in my house, sir? If they're unrelated to the case, I hope you will refrain from sharing, but... Well, there's this one clock. That's quite detective. I can't believe that Manny fell among the thieves tonight. Without him, I have no idea what my schedule for tonight is. Ambassador Paleno, I believe your schedule tonight will consist of listening to reports from the police. That, and only that. I ask you to cooperate not only for your own sake, but for Mr. Kokin's as well. You're a rather strong man, aren't you? How fascinating. Here, I know it isn't much, but I'd like you to have these. I'm sorry, but it would be against my principles to accept a bribe. Oh, no. These are simply coupons we distribute to promote Babal. Remember, we offer a large number of discounts and offers when you visit lovely Babal. Now, remember, the Republic of Babal is known for its feverish tourism industry. I was wondering if you might tell me a little bit about the deceased, Manny Kokin. He was my secretary and the embassy secretary, charged with running the whole place. He was an admirable man. His death is a great loss to our country. He is in charge of everything. Accounting, printing, taking care of our national treasures. Oh, sorry, but did you say printing? our country's primary source of revenue is our tourism industry. So in order for us to print the necessary pamphlets, flyers, coupons, etc., we have printing press here at our embassy. I see. Please excuse my forwardness. However, I feel I should mention that I have the distinct impression that I've met him before. Oh yes. Since you are of the legal profession, I suppose you just have. After all, Manny was involved with the KG8 incident. The KG incident! The defendant who was found innocent in that case was Manny. So, Mr. Koken is the same as the one in that case. It's been 10 years. Manny recovered personally in that case and dove enthusiastically into this job. He was the one who planned this event and was to oversee this embassy's renovations. It really is a shame. He had such a bright future ahead of him. What exactly did you mean earlier by renovations? We can't have our tourists and visitors to our embassy thinking we're a poor nation, can we? So renovating the embassy is something of an investment. We may have a rather paltry budget, but we're trying the best to make do. However, I guess the only person who could have helped us to our best is now no longer with us. Ambassador Palena, I was wondering if I could ask you about Cadopia. Cadopia? Alright, what would you like to talk about? First, I'd like to ask you about this key. What about this key? I found it sticking out of Mr. Koken's pocket. I believe it originally belonged to his embassy. Is that correct? Upon closer impression, it seems that this key is shaped like a butterfly. It's not all about this key, it's also capable of changing into a knife. Oh, how fascinating. Is it possible that the ambassador didn't know about the existence of this key? In its knife form, there is a flower mark at the base of the blade. I guess this knife might be from when we used it to be a part of Cadopia. And how did you come to that conclusion? It has both of Cadopia's national symbols, the butterfly and the flower. I suppose Manny used this key here at the embassy back when we were still Cadopia. Ambassador Paleno. This key was stolen from the Cadopian embassy 7 years ago by Callisto Yu, otherwise known as the Great Thief Yadagarasu. Oh really? Oh really? You were not aware that Miss Yu had broken into this embassy at the time? I'm sorry, I can't be much help. I'm not very familiar with the details, you see. I can only become the ambassador after Babal became its own independent nation. But if Manny were still alive, you would probably know about what happened back then. Mr. Cook and Miss Yu knew each other 7 years ago. But that doesn't explain why I found the Yadagarasu's key here in the present. Miles Edgeworth? What is it? Let me tell you something. You are currently my subordinate. And if you wish to convince everyone else of that, well, speak to me with respect. What's with the giddy glint in her eyes? I don't think that will really be necessary, Francesca. Oh, really? Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that you are still under me. I thought Francesca was flying around the world in pursuit of the smuggling case. So then why is she here at the embassy? I was investigating at the Alabastian embassy when I got wind of this mess. That's right. The Yaligarasu was due to appear at the embassy as well. Yeah, but the difference is that we didn't have a fire over there. Although this was an incident at the Alabastion embassy as well. But I left Agent Lang in charge of that case and came over to the Babalese embassy. So Agent Lang is here as well, huh? I see you've met. Well, he's in the Alabastion embassy acting as bodyguard for Ambassador Alba. There's a lot of A's in this. However, he seems to have a different reason for being there. So the suspect in the murder that occurred in this office is that little girl, I see. Is she perhaps trying to be the Yaligarasu? Kay would never harm a soul, sir. Kay? You remember, do you not, about the case we investigated together 7 years ago? That girl is the daughter of the victim in that case, Mr. Faraday. So she's that feisty little girl. Kay has been on the trail for the Yaligarasu, which is how she ended up here. Looking for the ones who took her father's life. I see. Kay's trying so hard, you know what? But you know what? The Yaligarasu just keeps tricking us all. How so? The Yaligarasu sent a card saying, I will be there to steal your dirtiest secrets. But all we've had is an arson and a murder. The lab boys are going in circles. You know what it is, sirs? It's a breach of contract, and it's going on the rap sheet. If you ask me, I'm perfectly fine with the fact that nothing was stolen tonight. I do wonder if Callisto Yu really is the Yaligarasu. Is there anything I can put together? I don't know if there's any of them. Okay, are you alright? You believe me, don't you, Mr. Edgeworth? You don't think I did it, right? Yes, of course I don't. And I promise to prove that it wasn't you. That's enough chit-chats. You can investigate all you like, but it's only a matter of time before we take her in. It would be wise to give up while you can. No. I don't think so. Kay isn't lying, and my investigation will prove that to be true. Go ahead and try, if you're that confident. I can't allow this to continue this way. I must prove her innocent post-haste. A small personal safe. This was Mr. Cochin's office. So it appears he stored his most important documents in there. Of course it's locked. It appears we won't be able to open it without the key. Key used at the embassy and the lock safe. It's gotta be that. Yep. We know for a fact that the Yaligara's key was used at this embassy. Furthermore, we found it in the victim, Mr. Cochin's pocket. Which leads me to think that it's perhaps the key to the personal safe in this office. Good thinking, sir. Let's try it out. It appears I was correct. The key that was left to us in the victim's pocket, it literally turned to be key to the next piece of truth. What do we have here? Hey, there's nothing inside! Do you think that the Yaligarasu made off with everything, sir? No, detective. I believe all we need is a closer look. What is this here? It looks like the ripped corner of a piece of paper, sir. No, I don't think it's ripped. It seems to me more like it's stuck in a safe. Hey, you're right. It won't budge an inch, even when I tug on it. I don't think I've ever seen paper stuck to the inside of a safe before. Detective, I think you have it backwards. It's not the paper that's strange. It's the safe. What do you mean? What I mean is that the secret to the safe is that it has two compartments. Even just eyeballing, you can see that the inside is just a bit too shallow. Furthermore, with the unnatural way the paper is stuck at the back of the safe, I'd say that there's an extra bit of space behind the back of the wall of this safe. In other words, this safe has a second compartment. What? I suppose that you are correct in asserting that the paper is stuck in a natural manner. However, if what you say is correct and there is a second compartment, how do we go about opening the door to it then? As you can see, there is no other lock or keyhole in sight. Actually, there is one more spot of interest to me in this safe. Yes, and I believe that spot to our mystery. That spot is the keyhole to our second mystery lock. The safe and its locks. Alright, since you are so sure of yourself, show me how you deduce your answer. I don't know what the answer is yet. Oh yeah, the thing is removable. Yeah, we remember that from when talking before. Dun, 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 dun. Do I use the thing again? Doesn't the shape of this keyhole remind you of something, Francesca? The shape? This key does look very familiar. However, I believe it's simply a latch hole to the safe's lock mechanism. It's just for keeping the door shut, nothing more. Is that so? The person who used this safe, Mr. Cochin, made sure the safe had two compartments in order to hide something. Do you honestly think something like that would allow the keyhole to be in the hidden half? Looks so obviously like a keyhole that even an average person could figure it out? You can't be serious. Are you saying that this keyhole's the keyhole to the hidden compartment? That's precisely what I'm saying. And I will prove it to you right now. That is the Yatagarasu's key that will open it. The Yatagarasu's key. Miles Edgeworth, this had better be a very bad joke. Sorry, this is no joke. The Yatagarasu's key is the very key that will open up this second compartment of this safe. We know that this key opens the first compartment of the safe, but the key you're talking about is of an entirely different shape than that of the key? We discovered this trick 7 years ago. With it, we were able to corner Miss Yu. But who would have thought I'd see this key again after all this time? Let's go over this again, shall we? The Yatagarasu's key was originally made to open Mr. Koken's safe in the Kadopian embassy. We confirmed that as a fact by opening the door to the safe with it. Now let's take a look at the back end of the key. Looking at the knife portion head on, do you see? Ah!